Well, the cable for my good microphone is unavailable right now, and my eyes are uneven, so we're off to a good start. Hello friends, we are approaching Halloween, and what better to do than to watch scary movies? Of course there are the classics, but this next list is just going to be my opinion of what excites me as a young filmmaker. Number 11 on my list, believe it or not, is Sinister 1 and 2.
Washed-up true crime writer finds a box of Super 8 home movies that suggest the murder he is currently researching is the work of a serial killer whose work dates back to the 1960s. Sinister 2. A young mother and her twin sons move into a rural house that's marked for death. Something I like about these films, they don't show the monster too much, just enough. They show him in video clips, reflections, and people's reactions. The monster also doesn't talk. The film that Ethan Hawke's character finds in the attic is realistic looking. The imagery and feel is just terrifying, to say the least. And the second one was its own story, and just as good, if not even better, than the first.
Number 10 is Dead Silence.
A young widower returns to his hometown to search for answers to his wife's murder, which may be linked to the ghost of a murdered ventriloquist. This film is by director James Wan, who is popular in the horror world. There's a distinct color palette when it came to coloring the film that I feel works very well. This film surrounds a simple yet very creepy ghost story. The killer and her dummies and the scenarios she gets people in is a thrill.
Number 9, the Saw movies 1 and 2.
Two strangers awaken in a room with no recollection of how they got there or why, and soon discover they are pawns in a deadly game perpetuated by a notorious serial killer, Jigsaw. A detective and his team must rescue 8 people trapped in a factory by the twisted serial killer known as Jigsaw. Once again, this is a film directed by James Wan. These films are a psychological adventure that have the viewer questioning, what would I do in this situation? Jigsaw continued to kill in other sequels, but the subtleties and clever twists of Saw 1 and 2 are the ones that really resonated with me. The characters are well developed, and I like how we learn bits and pieces about them as the story unfolds, as if we are there with them. Saw 1 and 2 focus on story. Yes, there is gore, but the primary focus is story, and that's clear.
Number 8 is Poltergeist. That's a classic.
A family's home is haunted by a host of ghosts. Sure, some of the effects in Poltergeists would not hold up to today's standards, but the concept makes for a unique story for me. There are visuals towards the end, very creepy and realistic looking visuals. It's been said that real dead bodies were used as props on this set. There are elements that spook the children characters and the adult characters. It's a fun adventure to watch.
Number 7, you're probably familiar with this, the Conjuring films, Conjuring 1 and 2.
Paranormal investigators Ed and Lorraine Warren work to help a family terrorized by a dark presence in their farmhouse. Ed and Lorraine Warren travel to North London to help a single mother raising 4 children alone in a house plagued by a supernatural spirit. The acting, pacing, and cinematography are all extremely impressive. Madison Wolfe is the actress who plays the main young girl in The Conjuring 2, and I think she put on an amazing performance. The visuals are things that may stay in your mind. I was definitely spooked by the nun scene in The Conjuring 2.
Number 6, The Ring.
A journalist must investigate a mysterious videotape which seems to cause the death of anyone in a week of viewing it. This film was directed by Gore Verbinski, who soon later went on to direct my favorite film, Pirates of the Caribbean: The Curse of the Black Pearl.
The Ring is an American film, which is based off of the Japanese manga Ringu, which was also made into a film. But I like the American version. That one creeps me out the most.
The music was scored by the talented Hans Zimmer. It's definitely a memorable soundtrack. Naomi Watts is an incredible actress. The whole idea of a creepy VHS tape lost in the world is a fun and terrifying concept to me. The visuals on the cursed VHS tape are enough to give you the creeps. There's a sense of running out of time because our characters only have a week to live, a week to solve the mystery. You get to solve the mystery along with them. There's clues that you get to piece together. The deaths are scary. Plenty of the faces of those people who died might leave you scarred. Samara Morgan, in my opinion, is one of the most horrifically terrifying horror movie killers. Fun fact, this actress also did the voice of Lilo in Lilo and Stitch. Would you believe that? The characters are great. We want to see them succeed.
It's a very creepy film. I saw it later in my life. I was like 17, 18. I have to admit, if I had seen that as a child, if I had seen that younger, that would have given me nightmares. Number 5, okay, I kind of cheated with this one, is a tie between The Nightmare Before Christmas and Beetlejuice.
The Nightmare Before Christmas is only 1 year older than I am. Jack Skellington, king of Halloween Town, discovers Christmas Town, but his attempts to bring Christmas to his home cause confusion. Beetlejuice. When a recently deceased ghost couple find their now vacant home invaded by an obnoxious family, they hire a sleazy ghost who gets rid of humans to help them.
These films aren't necessarily Halloween movies. To me, they fall in the same category because they are both birthed from Tim Burton's mind.
Man, do these actors put on a show. Michael Keaton plays a hilarious Beetlejuice. Alec Baldwin, Gina Davis, Catherine O'Hara, Winona Ryder, and others are funny and lovable. The shenanigans the writers get into with The Land of the Dead is a lot of fun. I could go on and on about The Nightmare Before Christmas, but I'm going to sum it up. The stop motion is beautiful. You could tell a lot of work from a lot of people went into the making of this movie. Jack Skellington, believe it or not, is a relatable character. We want to see him succeed, and we have laughs along the way as Halloween Town and Christmas Town merge. Danny Elfman put together a wonderful score for The Nightmare Before Christmas. These are tunes I don't plan to stop singing anytime soon.
That film, when I was a very young child, was my favorite film. Tim Burton was the first person to inspire me as a screenwriter. When I was around 5 to 7-ish, I would try to make my own stop motions. A mini rant I have about the culture surrounding The Nightmare Before Christmas. I fell in love with this film. Henry Selick soon became one of my favorite directors. Like around 10 years later, all of a sudden this became like some emo trend. Jack Skellington's face is like a fashion statement. I don't know where the correlation is. Goes to show that anyone of any sort of genre or clique can enjoy this film. Tim Burton is great. Number 4, the stop-motion film Coraline.
An adventurous girl finds another world that is a strangely idealized version of her frustrating home, but it has sinister secrets.
I think it's incredible first that stop-motion was able to be made into 3D. This was directed by Henry Selick, again. Amazing. This film is for children, but it's also creepy. It gives me the creeps, like in a good way. I highly recommend this film if you haven't seen it. I want to make a movie like this someday. Anyone of any age can enjoy Coraline. Number 3, Psycho, and really any of Alfred Hitchcock's films.
A Phoenix secretary embezzles $40,000 from her employer's client, goes on the run, and checks into a remote motel run by a young man under the domination of his mother. The characters are well developed. Anthony Perkins puts on an incredibly memorable performance. I would start fangirling about little things I've noticed that he does, but if I do that, it might hint at some spoilers, so I'm going to hold back. The soundtrack is fitting and unforgettable. Everyone knows that theme. And the trailer that Hitchcock made was unlike any other trailer. Here's a clip.
I think some of her clothes are still in this wardrobe.
Alfred Hitchcock is my ultimate favorite director. He was extremely talented. He put so much thought into every single shot. You could analyze his films forever, but I love that. You could clearly tell he was hardworking. He did a lot with foreshadowing and suspense. He really inspires me as a filmmaker. His films are wonderful to watch, even from a non-horror fanatic perspective. Number 2, It. The one that just came out this year, 2017.
A group of bullied kids band together when a shape-shifting demon, taking the appearance of a clown, begins hunting children.
I thought it was going to be like every other, let's just recycle, like, It. I'm at a loss for words. It was such an incredible film. It tapped into childhood fears. The pacing was great. The monster was scary. Some people like the comedy element of the original. It's just not my style. I like being scared, and this movie scared me. The thing I really like about it is Pennywise isn't like a slasher killer, and those can be fun to watch and scary to watch, but after a while, just like slasher killers are just whatever. Pennywise has this supernatural element to him, and for a filmmaker, that's a field day. You can have him do whatever. I want to make a film like that. It looked like it would have been so much fun to make.
It didn't show the monster in full for a good chunk of time. It played on classic fears that haven't been touched upon by other horror movies. The characters are believable. Their backstories and internal struggles. I often gravitate towards movies and TV shows with a lot of different characters who have their own character development. In It, each of these characters had their own character arcs, unlike the 1990s version. In a way, from a filmmaker standpoint, this movie may be the best one on this list, besides Hitchcock. Bill Skarsgård plays a terrifying Pennywise. In interviews, he discusses all the little things he did in preparation for playing this character. It's clear a lot of hard work went into creating Pennywise. The child actors are amazing. I could sit here and fangirl forever, but I'm not going to do that to you. It's clear that a lot of thought went into the set, makeup, props, etc. It's also interesting to note that, unlike many other horror films, the killer appears to us often during the daytime. It's hard to make that look scary. Through direction, color grading, and other cinematic techniques, this film made daytime just as scary as nighttime.
I enjoyed the ride through the movie as well. Now, before I get to my number 1 scary movie, here are some honorable mentions. My all-time favorite horror movie is A Nightmare on Elm Street.
This is God.
Several teens are hunted by a cruel serial killer who kills his victims in their dreams. While the survivors are trying to find the reason for being chosen, the murderer won't lose any chance to kill them as long as they fall asleep. Robert Englund's performance will have you scared, and his one-liners will have you laughing.
In the same way that Pennywise can basically do anything, Freddy Krueger can do anything. He's not like other slashers. He also has a supernatural element to him. He's the boogeyman. He can go into your dreams and think about it. Anything can happen in your dreams. Filmmakers have free range. That's why these films are so much fun to me. Wes Craven directed the original. Anytime he does anything with dreams, I always admire the editing and the transition from the real world into the dream because he portrays that in film so well.
Visual editing is currently my strong point, so something that often stands out to me in films are match cuts and transitions and cuts on action. Fun fact, this was my favorite actor, Johnny Depp's, first acting role. It's also scary because people have to sleep. You can't escape sleep.
Please leave me a comment letting me know who would win in a fight, Freddy Krueger or Pennywise the Clown. Thank you for watching. Please give me a like if you want more videos like this where I just talk casually about films. And if you'd like to know how I did this Halloween makeup, there's a link in the description to a video tutorial. Happy Halloween! Alright. this is over.